When the celery germinates first, you get the first leaves, the couple, and it's beautiful, tiny little, very beautiful. And then as time grows, they develop the bigger leaves, and it's just going to be one for now, and then more will be coming out hopefully. So it looks like it's the same as the celery you grow anywhere else. So you're looking for these leaves to come out. This is my seedling in the indoor garden, just one of them, and outdoors I have some as well. Same thing is happening here. I'm really excited. So one thing is to anticipate that it takes time to germinate, so don't worry about it. Give it 2 weeks for sure, and then maybe even more. And another thing is I'm again working with the AeroGarden feeding. So I'm not planning on yet adding anything else. I might. There's a lot of other feeds that are out there at the market that you can buy for this system. And just doing just thinking about the fact that celery is one of those vegetables that has a high amount of water in it. So it might be cool, like my cucumbers that I grew in the AeroGarden system. This is only the 6th pod. I'm pretty happy with that. And so we'll see how this goes. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And in the next segment, I'll be talking about an important maintenance element of all hydroponic systems, so stay tuned. Okay, so in this segment of my video, I want to talk about something that is very vital to all hydroponic systems and is often overlooked. Often you see people notice the plants in the hydroponic system, any kind of system, especially AeroGarden system, that the plants are not doing well and they're not as, fully grown or producing what you were expecting. And often people add more food. Sometimes people change the food that they're giving, all in the effort to increase productivity. But one thing that all hydroponics growers should be checking actually is the pH. So today I'll be talking to you about the significance of pH and why people with hydroponic systems should be checking that regularly. So I bought this kit from the Amazon store, and it's a very nice, affordable, a very inclusive kind of kit. It has everything you need. If you don't know anything about pH, this would kind of explain it to you in a very good way. There's also interesting information about, how pH is important for the hydroponics. Then they show you all the minerals essential for the plants, and they show you what kind of environment they ought to need for their well-being. And then they give you everything you need basically, starting with a vial for sampling, a pipette, or what you call a dropper. Here's the indicator solution. This will be helping you know what your pH of your solution is. And then they give you generous amount of solutions to fix your pH problem. So if you find out that your pH needs to go lower, you can use the pink one. And if you want to go higher, you use the blue. So what is pH? Basically, here we're talking about pH control is essential for vigorous plant growth. Nutrient solution pH that is too high, which means basic, or too low, which is acidic, cannot be properly absorbed by plants. And that's the point I wanted to talk to you about today. Many people think they just have to add food or different food, whereas the problem could really be that the food isn't being absorbed. pH scale measures acidity. For those who don't know what pH is, it measures acidity or alkalinity on a scale of 0 to 14. Well, below 7, pH is acidic. Above 7, pH is alkaline. Now, what is the optimum? The best pH for your hydroponics is generally the range between 5.5 to 6.5, which is what? Slightly acidic. And here they talk about what could be some of the reasons that your hydroponic system could be not having a good pH. So, you're supposed to put cool tap water in your hydroponics, and you may not know by just looking at your water or just feeling the water, what kind of pH it has. You may have hard water. You may have just impurities in the water that are not allowing the absorption of the nutrients. And for all those reasons, we have to, sample the hydroponics and then deal with that. Now, that being said, this is true for all plants, even outdoors. If you have seen my raspberries, and I put one video recently, because if you go ahead and see that video, you see that there's a lack of iron absorption, and that how I'm adding coffee to deal with that. So let's go ahead and see what we have to do here and kind of do a little test today. So here I have a chart, and on this chart it shows starting from the red on this side, which is the acidic side, to the shades of blue on this side, which is your alkaline or basic side. And all you can see the nutrients that are necessary, and then some of the trace elements for the plants. So we know nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and iron are extremely essential. And then there's trace elements like sulfur and manganese. There's boron, copper, zinc, and molybdenum, believe it or not. Anyway, all of these trace elements as well are needed for your plants. And different plants have a slight bit different needs for some of these, more or less. So we have, nitrogen for your leafies. We need iron for your tomatoes and so on. Take a look at these broad black bands here. If you look at this chart, you see that a lot of the nutrients absorb a lot right here. With, when you see the bigger, darker absorption right here. And that's just about what he was saying, between 5.5 and 6.5. So if you notice, however, about iron, which is what I was having with, having a trouble with the raspberries, iron really needs to have an acidic environment. It's right here on the red segment here. So iron is one of those necessary nutrients for your plants, and it does require a little bit more acidic environment. So if you have blueberries, raspberries, things like that, they really actually depend on this. So let's go ahead and get started. You need to prepare your area. Let me just give you this information that you should really be careful with all of these solutions. Read all the cautionary statements on the packet. Make sure kids are not touching any of these. And just because you're wearing gloves also doesn't mean you're safe from these solutions. You can't really spill these on yourself or on where you'll be touching. And you really need to clean heavily, following the instructions on these. These are real solutions. They could create serious burns. So you do not want to get this on you. So lots of people unfortunately have a misunderstanding that if you're wearing gloves, that then you're like invincible, and that's not the case. In fact, sometimes if you are wearing plastic gloves, these chemicals can burn and stick this stuff back to your skin. So wearing gloves, it has to be even more caution taken than when you have bare hands. Okay, so that being said, it's not that bad if you take caution, but this is a very important step in hydroponics. And if the pH is wrong, all your effort really will be wasted, because you'll be waiting, you'll be adding more food, and nothing is happening, or it's not as good as you would think. So here's my indicator. I'm shaking it just to make it ready here, okay? And it is already in a dropper shape, so you don't need to worry about it. And following the instructions here, it says fill the vial halfway and add 3 to 5 drops of the pH test indicator. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Here's the vial. Okay, I'm going to set this down here, and I'm going to go to the hydroponics and start like preparing by taking the cap off. And I'm not sure how much would fill the half. Remember that we should go about halfway. So with the dropper, I am going to take some of this. It looks like I'm going to need a couple of droppers full of this. Okay, so here I have about half full. I'll put a little bit more. Okay. Okay, here's my vial. I'm ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and close this. So I don't want more light going in there or anything like that. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the testing. So I take the vial. This should be exciting. So I have no idea what range I'm in. I'm hoping it's in the right pH range. So it's very nice and secure, nothing spills, and all you need to do is just give it a little gentle squeeze. Can you see the darker color solution coming out? 1, 2, and 3, I think should be enough. Okay, we're going to close the vial. Okay, and to mix this, you don't want to shake it up and down. You just tap on like this, a gentle tap, making sure that indicator is working. Okay, a little swirl will do also, but nothing big deal. I'm just keeping this against the napkin here for you to see that it's getting a little more colorful. Okay, you don't have to wait too long. These things are pretty good at showing the pH right away, and you don't really need to do anything else. That's all you have to do. At this point, we're going to, I'm just putting this in more light so you can see. Here's the chart, and I can actually take it out of the plastic, so let me go ahead and do that. Okay, so here's the chart, and keep this chart nearby. Don't throw it away because you're going to be needing that for doing your hydroponics test. And you're going to be doing this often, so make sure that you keep this nearby and remind yourself to check your system all the time. So here's my vial. Clearly it does not belong to the extreme ranges here. I don't see any blue or green. It's certainly matching with right here in the middle, and that's all you need to know. Okay, so what is the middle? The yellow region right here, which is my vial color, is somewhere between 5 and 7. It's really good. So I could be sure that as of right now that I'm starting my celery, that it's doing good. So 3 weeks from the beginning with this system, where I have cleaned it, I put cold tap water, and I'm using only the AeroGarden food, and that's my pH right now, in the good, neutral, a slight bit acidic range. So that's good news. I'm really happy with that. For now, we're doing fine. That means I have optimum absorption of all of these, and even iron. So it's getting a good amount of iron. Now, with celery, I won't be too worried about iron, but if it was tomatoes, maybe I would be a little worried, and maybe I will be going slight bit, acidic. Also things like berries and so on. If you happen to do your test and found out that you were having one of these extreme colors, if your vial turned out, either reddish or bluish, then it's time for you to go ahead and take some of these guys. Again, follow the instructions on those. I will be purchasing more droppers. Never put the same dropper you use for your watering sample into these because you'll contaminate them. It's best to buy separate droppers, and then either it's up to you if you want to throw them away or you want to reuse them, but have separate. Never mix the two solutions together, and follow the instructions real carefully. If you do have a problem, well, then you have to use those solutions, and it's nothing more important than starting the right environment for your plants. If you're outdoors, you have to notice the same situation. This is what I did with the raspberries, and notice the signs on there. You go ahead and see that video also. And remember, we have so many things that change the pH of your medium, so we need to be aware of that. So that's all I wanted to say today about the pH. Like I said, there are other ways you can, check the pH meters, and so on. There are different kits. What I like about this one is that everything comes with, and I don't have to worry about inaccurately measuring, or if my pH meter is not working, or if the battery is low, any of that. I just have an indicator, which doesn't, take too hard of an effort to do, and it's pretty accurate. I have the fixing solutions all in one, and with great information. Hope you like this video. If you do, please give it a like, subscribe if you haven't, and thank you so much for watching.